Bring in David Pollack from the Mothership, part of College Game Day's crew. All-day coverage of college football's national championship game. And kickoff 8 Eastern, highlights including a Bill Belichick conversation where he discusses Nick Saban's success and their relationship. David, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm doing great, man.
All right, what do you say to people who say, oh, no, here we go again, Clemson, Alabama?
Get better. Beat them. I mean, that's always the thing. I know people get sick of it, but I mean, this really is, in my lifetime, it really feels like Red Sox Yankees. You know, I mean, several years ago, it was the up-and-coming Red Sox, and they hadn't won in a long time, but they had a lot of talent, and then all of a sudden they break through and then win a few more, and that feels like Clemson, and then the evil empire is Alabama. You know, they're the standard. They've been doing it. So it's just tough, man. You got the greatest coach of all time. People thought Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, and what he did would never be touched and would never be eclipsed. And Nick Saban, in almost half the time in Alabama, has done what Bear Bryant did. And that's amazing to think about. And Dabo's the second best coach in college football and is recruited at a high level and got his guys. And it's cool, Dan, too, because he does it in such a different way. He's so different the way he leads between Nick. And so it's just, sit back and relax and admire greatness. And I know you get sick and tired of seeing the same two teams win, but if you want to do something about it, then go beat them and don't let them win.
Okay, but my point to these people who criticize and say, I'm not going to watch, in any other sport, what other sport do you go, I get tired of seeing the two best teams square off? If it's the Super Bowl, the World Series, like you want a great story, but in the end, March Madness, you want to have the two best teams face off against each other. You have that tonight. And just, I guess, maybe we're bored by the greatness of these two programs, especially Alabama. I'm not quite sure. And maybe it's, regional. Maybe the fact that, you've got Clemson and you've got Alabama and the rest of the country, it's not going to be interested. I don't know. I'm a little baffled by it, but I would think that you would want to have the two best teams, and you're going to have a lot of future pros playing in the game coming up tonight. So I don't know. Find it interesting, but not everybody does.
Dan, you got 8 of the top 35 guys ranked, on Todd McShay's board that will play in this game. Are you sick of LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors? We've gotten that the last 3 or 4 years. It's been freaking amazing. I mean, I'm not a diehard NBA fan, but I love it because I know the faces, I know the teams, I know the storylines. I know Kevin Durant joined them. I thought it was fun. I think it's been fun to follow and watch. So I think people get upset, but here's the thing, Dan. Good and well, people get upset. They'll be watching because they got Alabama to cheer against or Clemson to cheer against, and it'll be fun to watch, and it'll be watchable TV. That's for sure.
Okay, there's a 2-part question: the best college quarterback on the field tonight, and the best potential pro quarterback on the field tonight.
Ouch. I think that's easy because Tua's probably better, and he has more weapons and a more complete team, more experience. But Trevor Lawrence is filthy. I mean, this dude is – I don't know. I've never seen a freshman come in with this much talent. And just he makes 18-yard comebacks, which is like a standard NFL throw that people look at. He makes them look like it's easy. Like it just – his arm talent is insane, and he's going to be back in this situation. And Tua is going to be back in this situation. They're both going to be, NFL quarterbacks for a long, long time. The one difference is – there's not a lot of very successful left-handed quarterbacks. If you think about it, the last 83 quarterbacks drafted were right-handed. And, Steve Young comes to mind, but there's, Mark Brunell, but there hasn't been a ton of, you got to kind of change your offense when you have a left-handed quarterback like Tua because your blind side isn't your left tackle anymore. Your blind side is your right tackle. And, the spin on the ball is different. And so I think both are going to be successful. Trevor Lawrence, next level fits in perfect. Tua will be a little bit of a different fit because of he's a little bit more mobile, a little bit shorter, and left-handed. But, both are going to be very successful high draft picks.
I'm worried about the voice, though, David.
The voice is weak, Godfather.
What happened here? Like, what did you guys go to dinner and it was loud and you had to yell across the table or something? Can you make it tonight? Are you a game time decision, David?
I'm probable, and definitely it's going to happen. There's no doubt. It definitely sounds like I smoked a pack of Marlboro Reds, but no, it's that time of year, late in the season, and the West Coast time, and figuring it out. But we'll get her done, I promise.
Here's something that I was told yesterday, that somebody at Ohio State said that Urban Meyer is not done coaching. And I followed up by saying, okay, where would he be coaching if he's not going to coach at Ohio State? And he said Notre Dame or USC.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Urban believes he's done, and I say that because his health is obviously a concern, and he's worn himself. It's amazing that you spend time with Nick Saban and you spend time with Dabo and such phenomenal coaches, the great coaches of this generation, Nick, the greatest of all time. And then you spend time with Urban, and the conversation is so daggum different. And, Dabo and Nick and these guys, they're grinders, Dan, and they have tunnel vision, and they're great coaches. But they have the tunnel vision, and they're in the tunnel, but they got a flashlight. And they can see where they're going, and they have perspective. Like Urban doesn't have perspective. He's in a tunnel without a flashlight, and it's just tunnel vision and grind, and family comes last, and everything else comes last, and it's the pursuit of greatness. So I understand why he's grinded, but the dude's 54 years old, and USC makes a lot of sense. Notre Dame makes a lot of sense because of his ties to Notre Dame early in his career. So I think he thinks he's done, but at 54, and now he's going to go try retirement for a little bit. I don't think he tried it once and it took a year sabbatical, and then he came right back to Ohio State. So I think we'll see him coach again, but I do think he thinks he's done right now because of his health.
Yeah, I think at 54, and he might be an old 54, but, he strikes me as a lifer. They're just certain guys that they don't – and he could be an analyst, but I would be shocked if in 2 years we're not talking about Urban Meyer coaching again. Cliff Kingsbury has been denied an opportunity to coach or to interview to coach in the NFL. Your thoughts on what USC is doing with their offensive coordinator?
First of all, the hire is phenomenal. I mean, he is. That's a job-saving hire for Helton. I mean, he is. Cliff Kingsbury's one of the greatest minds. You watch you watch tape of Texas Tech the last several years, and it just blows your mind. And it wasn't just Patrick Mahomes. This year he did it with 2 or 3 different quarterbacks and kept changing the offense weekly because one of his quarterbacks would get hurt. And it's amazing. He's a brilliant offensive mind that could make USC so sexy. And he is Hollywood. That fits perfect. His persona, his demeanor, his look, his everything about that makes a lot of sense. As far as denying a vacancy or him an opportunity to interview, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go that route. I mean, I would always let my guys, pursue things if they wanted to pursue things. But, they also that's an old school. USC's an old school place, and Lynn Swann, it's kind of got that Steelers mentality. Everybody thought Helton might get fired, and it's like, no, commitment. So I think they're a brand that follows the Steelers and that old regime of, listen, you have a job, stay committed to it. And that's probably the realm of thinking about the AD and Lynn Swann.
Have fun tonight. Don't say anything until you go on the air. How about that?
Just save the pipes? Is that the advice?
Yes. So if somebody says something to you, maybe make a sign, write it down and hand it to somebody. All right?
Yes, sir. Will do.
Thank you, David.
See you, Bob.
That's David Pollack, the ESPN college football analyst, College Game Day crew. Kickoff at 8 Eastern tonight, the national title game. And they got a feature with Bill Belichick conversation talking about Nick Saban's success and their relationship.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.